Spirituality actually messed me up for a while. Yes, spirituality did. Not in this dramatic, everything fell apart kind of way. Well, actually, everything was falling apart, but in a quiet way where I just started questioning myself all the time. I kept thinking maybe I'm not spiritual enough. I had people telling me, Priya, you're not spiritual enough. If I had a reaction or I got angry and I wanted to be firm about something, then I'd go straight to, oh, that was not very spiritual. And it got confusing because I was doing all the things, meditating, listening to teachings, trying to be more aware, more grounded. But instead of feeling clearer, I was feeling more confused. And what I didn't realize at the time was I wasn't getting closer to myself. I was actually disconnecting from myself. On the outside, I looked like I was growing and like I was doing the work. But internally, I was getting more confused. So I want to talk about this today because I don't think we talk about it enough. There's a lot out there about spirituality, especially more and more people are going through awakenings. And there's so much out there about you have to do this to be spiritual, do this to be spiritual, connect to this spiritual side of yourself. But today we're talking about how spirituality can actually make you question yourself. How it can make you feel like you're doing it all wrong. And how, if you're not careful, it can actually pull you further away from who you are. So let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Unmute with Priya. I'm your host, Priya. So if you're wondering, what is Unmute all about? Imagine living a life on your terms, unique to you, authentic to you. And how amazing that would be. We dive into different topics on this channel that are about living life on your own terms. And sometimes to get there, we have to work through some of our own things, such as our way of thinking and how we're showing up in this world. So like, subscribe, and share this channel. And every week we dive into different topics around being authentic to ourselves and returning to our soul. I have amazing podcast guests who are also in the space of helping others to unmute in their own way. So once again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this channel. Spirituality actually messed me up. So as I was going through my awakening and navigating, questioning everything that was in my life, how I was raised, my religious beliefs, even just my pure human existence on this earth, I started to delve into spiritual concepts, the fact that we are souls, right? And we are spiritual beings having a human existence. So what does it mean to have what does it mean to connect to that soul version of ourselves? And I tried so many different things. My first experience with spirituality was years ago when I first moved to New York. So probably, I want to say late 90s, early 2000. And there were yoga studios popping up all over the place. It was new. You didn't see as many yoga studios as there are now. And I remember going into the yoga studio and thinking, okay, I really like this practice. I'm Indian, and just because I'm Indian does not mean that I am so well versed in yoga. But I went and sat in the class, and what I started to notice when I was going to these classes regularly was that there weren't too many other Indian people in the room. And one class, the teacher started to chant. I can't remember what it was, but it was Om and some Sanskrit chant. So after the class, we were sitting, having water, and she said, oh, you're Indian? And I said, yeah. She goes, oh, so what does this mean? And it was the chant that she was having the entire class chant. And I said, hell if I know. I'm not versed in Sanskrit. And Sanskrit isn't a spoken language. It's a holy language. It's a religious language rooted in prayer. And from that point on, I just started to become aware. Everybody was sitting in lotus position, sitting for hours and hours, eyes closed. And meanwhile, I couldn't. And I coined the term spiritually la-la. And what that meant was the people, and this is not putting down anybody, but it was the idea that if you take these actions, that you are spiritual. Now, it doesn't matter what happens when you walk out that room. The fact that you were sitting in that posture, doing that, chanting, means that you are spiritual. That's when it started for me. I started to really question, like, am I spiritual? I don't know what that means. Like, what does it mean to be spiritual? Somebody tell me. Then I had people in my life who, when I had a human reaction, like getting upset, crying, maybe, it was a boyfriend at the time, and his go-to was comparing me to somebody in his life who had passed and saying, well, she was spiritual. And that also put me into an abyss of like, oh my gosh, I'm not spiritual enough. I want to debunk that myth right now because spirituality is so individual. It is your unique, your individual relationship with your higher self. That's what spirituality is. It's this connection to something outside of yourself. It doesn't mean you have to believe in God. No, it just is this understanding that there's something bigger than you. And whatever it takes to get you there is your journey with your spirituality. There's no right or wrong way. And so I want to give a couple of other examples that you might resonate with that maybe you're thinking, I'm not doing this properly. I have a meditation practice and I'm really, I could easily roll out of bed, get on my phone, start making the coffee, and then before I know it, it's evening. So my meditation practice in the morning is giving me that pause. It's giving me that pause to wake up, be awake, set my intentions for the day, and just ground. Now, as I do my meditation practice, and I am, currently learning and exploring spirituality with the Self-Realization Fellowship, that is through Paramahansa Yogananda, and he wrote Autobiography of a Yogi. And I love the practice. I love what it teaches you. There's something in there too that feels oppressive, that if you don't do it this way, then you're not doing it the correct way. I meditated in the evening yesterday and did a group meditation. After I was done with that meditation, I could have probably taken myself to bed, but I just wanted to watch 30 minutes of a show. I don't watch too much television, but I just wanted to watch 30 minutes. And immediately my mind went to that old place where, hey, Priya, you just meditated and now you're watching TV. You're not spiritual enough. Is that the truth, or is that just my programming, what I've been hearing ever since I stepped foot into that first yoga studio? So if this is what you're going through, if you're really questioning that your practice, is it spiritual enough? Or if you don't do this, or like all these consequences, I want you to start to think that is not spirituality. Spirituality is connecting to the love within your heart. And this understanding that we're all connected in the universe, it connects you to compassion for people, love for people. It helps you to understand, okay, am I reacting in this situation or am I responding in this situation? Because ultimately where that's going to take you in your life is just a feeling of being grounded and feeling at peace and feeling joy within your own body. And it has nothing to do with the external environment. So for a while there, after I had my awakening in about 2019, and when I say awakening, spiritual awakening, it is really that something is happening in your life that is making everything come to the surface, and you're starting to really question your existence. You're starting to question everything. You're starting to question, okay, what do I believe versus what was I made to believe as a child, within my culture, within my society, within my community, within my country, all of those different aspects. And so as I had my awakening, I started exploring. I started listening to Abraham Hicks and Dispenza and all of the teachers, and what you look for, you will get more of. So I was definitely prey to the Facebook ads and people who are talking about the spiritual movements or spirituality or spiritual practice. And so at that time, as I was exploring, I'm learning about Akashic records and past lives and karma, and I'm learning about shamanic healing practices. I'm learning about so much at the same time. And at the same time, I was also in a very dysfunctional relationship. So what I needed to do in that dysfunctional relationship was leave. But what spirituality was, I want to say it was my spiritual journey of learning all of these different things. It was, okay, you need to be nicer, Priya. Okay, if you say this, is this being loving? Now, those aren't wrong questions to ask, because you don't want to say things from a mean place or a resentful place. But it was also keeping me trapped in situations and circumstances that no longer served me. Because everything that came out, I started to think, okay, now, is this a past life? Oh, wait, you and I had a past life together, so I need to work through this in real time. When you're going through an awakening and you're learning about all these different things, it can feel like dominoes, one after the other. And then meanwhile, years later, as in my situation, you realize, oh my gosh, why was I staying in that? And this whole idea of not being spiritual enough, or trying to be too spiritual by, oh, I forgive you, oh, I love you. Meanwhile, you're not really feeling that internally. It can definitely put you in a place where you feel more stuck than you were before. I actually got back in touch with people who I didn't need to get back in touch with because of spirituality. Because that voice or those teachings were saying, well, if you were spiritual, you would not be reacting this way. And that set me further back in my journey of trying to come back to my soul. Or as one person that I just spoke to talked about, soul sovereignty. It's just understanding who I am at my soul level and who you are at your soul level. I was even dealing with a health issue with my dog. My dog is my life. I absolutely love my dog. And as I was in tears talking with a friend who I'd met in a spiritual community about my dog, and just the fear of losing her because she was not well, I had to take her to urgent care in the city. My spiritual friend was trying to talk me, in that moment, tell me that maybe I should let my dog go, that she served her purpose here with me. She had her I've had my spiritual lessons with her. She had her spiritual lessons with me. She was my biggest spiritual guide. And so what I was doing was I had too much of an attachment to her. The fact that I might lose her was, against spirituality. And I was fucking pissed about that. I didn't end up talking to this person for months because I was like, how can you take this human experience that I'm having right now with potential of losing my soulmate, my dog, and turn it into this spiritual concept about attachment and loss, and that she's served her purpose here with me. There is a time and space for that. There is. But you have to come to it on your own. Nobody can force you there. And so that's where I found that these spiritual concepts and exploring all these teachings and ideologies and dogmas have really narrowed my world, whereas spirituality is supposed to expand your world and really help you understand that this is such a huge universe and there's so much that we can tap into once we're there. But I had to get there on my own. Nobody could force me there. Nobody could tell me in that moment. And so as I was doing my meditation yesterday in the evening, and after the hour meditation, I said, okay, what do you want to do right now? Do you want to go to bed or do you want to watch an episode? And I wanted to watch an episode. And so I allowed it. And I also told myself, just because I am watching this show does not mean that I completely ruined my practice from before or that I'm not spiritual enough, because those are just rules. Those are just things that your mind creates based on something that you might have heard in the past. If this is happening to you in your life, I want you to start asking yourself, what do you believe? What are your core values? What are you truly trying to understand about yourself in your own life? Because that's what it's about. That is what it's about. Now, some people might take their spiritual journey and it's about forming that deep connection with God. Like I said, spirituality doesn't mean that you have to believe in God. I'm not forcing you to believe that, but I want you to understand that spirituality is yours and only yours. And it's your relationship with whatever you want to create out there. And so if somebody's telling you that you're not spiritual enough, or you're doing it the wrong way, or you're meditating the wrong way, don't listen to them. because you will find it on your own. And as I let go of this constriction that I found that spirituality has put on me, I'm finding spirituality to be fun. Fun again. Because initially it was fun because I was learning all these new concepts, and then became very restrictive, similar to what I faced as a child and religion. And so I said, this can't be it. This can't be what I'm looking for. And so now I am loving spirituality. I'm loving talking about it. And so if you're listening to this and this resonates with you, just know if you've been getting that nudge that, oh my God, spirituality's screwing me up big time. Trust that nudge, because it might be. And I want you to tune into, the first thing that I want you to do is tune into, what do you believe? And what helps you ground? What helps bring you into yourself? It might be a 2-second practice. It might be a couple of minutes a day. And there's no right or wrong. Yes, there are practices that say you need to do it this many minutes a day, this many, and it takes time to get there. It's like any new pattern that you're trying to create. You have to do it for a certain number of days before your body feels like, okay, yeah, I've got this solidified within me. I can do this. But don't allow anybody to push you into something that you don't truly believe, or make you feel guilty, or make you feel shame, make you feel regret in the name of spirituality. Once again, spirituality is yours, and it's only yours. And it's your connection to your soul and your higher self. So one thing that I want you to question and ask yourself in this week is, are you finding spirituality to be toxic in your life? Are you getting glimpses of that? Are you feeling like you're not doing it, studying spirituality well enough, or doing a daily practice good enough? And I want you to share in the comments below your journey with spirituality, because it's never ending. You're going to have through this lifetime, multiple lifetimes ahead of us, all of these lifetimes, spirituality is spirituality. So I want you to share, what is the one thing that you're struggling with or that you're enjoying as far as spirituality goes? And like I said, if you're feeling that, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this channel, and share this episode with somebody who you think might benefit from hearing from this.